Hello from the National Weather Service in Missoula. This is forecaster Travis Booth with your planning briefing for Sunday, January 2nd. We'll start with the threat matrix. And there's quite a bit to go over, so we'll just jump right in here. First thing that stands out is the blowing snow, high wind potential there for the Camas Prairie and around Grangeville on Monday. We do have a cold front that passes through on Monday throughout the entire region, bringing fairly widespread overall light snowfall, but certainly some road impacts. Excuse me. We're looking on Tuesday for the potential influence of some Arctic air getting into Marias Pass, perhaps even into the northern Flathead Valley. On Wednesday, another fairly widespread snow event. The Arctic air does look to sink further south and west into much of western Montana. We get into Thursday and Friday, we have atmospheric river event that will bring up snow levels gradually, but we may have some fairly heavy snows in northwest Montana, and then freezing rain potential for north central Idaho and parts of western Montana associated with that. So we'll just kind of jump in and take this piece by piece. We'll start out with the Grangeville high winds, drifting snow. We're expecting winds generally to be 30 to 40 as far as the gust in this area, kind of from Whitebird grade toward the town of Grangeville, and then west on 95 for the rest of this afternoon into the overnight hours, with continued blowing and drifting snow concerns. But then as we get into the early morning hours on Monday, say 3-4 in the morning local time, it does look like winds are going to pick up, and there's a fairly good possibility of seeing 50 to 60 mile per hour winds across the area that's hatched out here. And the concern is, of course, with the blowing and drifting closing roads, and then also the potential for blizzard-like conditions. Now, looking at the actual probabilities, the probability for wind gust of greater than 55 miles per hour is about 70% for Grangeville, and even higher further to the southwest. And once again, this would be focused in on the early morning hours on Monday and lasting all the way into the afternoon, just periods of those high winds. As we look at probability of winds of 64 miles per, or greater than 64 miles per hour, town of Grangeville right about 50%. So for the day on Monday, so definitely some major impacts possible there. Moving on to the next weather system, we do have a cold front that passes through during the day on Monday into early Tuesday morning. Fairly widespread light snow overall. Generally, if you're looking at the passes, 2 to 5 inches, slightly higher for those western passes like Lolo and Lookout. Valleys generally like a trace to 2 inches, perhaps a bit higher right along the border here with Idaho and far northwest Montana. Looking at the actual probabilities for, let's see, an inch of snow or more, you can see fairly high probabilities over a very large area. So imagine a lot of roads are going to become snowpacked again, even if it's just from a light amount of snow in the valleys. And the snow is going to start off in far northwest Montana to begin the morning on Monday and just gradually spread southward. So it looks like as far as, you know, Kalispell and Missoula and perhaps even southwest Montana and then north central Idaho, that would be more of a Monday evening commute, and then perhaps some snow showers continuing well into Tuesday morning and affecting the Tuesday morning commute. So as far as early tomorrow morning, it's really just confined to far northwest Montana, the snow, and then it spreads southward through the day. Looking at the probability of 4 inches or greater, you can see it's mostly confined to the higher terrain mentioned before, some of those western passes and the higher elevations of north central Idaho. Now, wanted to we'll just let this loop through here. Wanted to take a look at some of the low level temperature anomalies and kind of talk about this Arctic air that's going to kind of bank up against the divide, and we'll get it back around here. Here we go. And so this is Monday evening, and what stands out is this Arctic air mass right along the divide. Now, it does look like it's going to try to work into Marias Pass and perhaps even to the northern Flathead Valley Monday night into Tuesday. There's still some uncertainty with how far west that goes, but it seems to get hung up there during the day on Tuesday, And then on Tuesday night into Wednesday, you can see that it does surge further to the south and west. And at this point, most likely it should make it to the Idaho, Montana border, northwest Montana. Some of the forecast models kind of hang it up on the I-90 corridor, and others bring it all the way southward. And that'll definitely play into the snow amounts that we see on Wednesday with another system passing through. Now take note, this is Thursday. You can see there's a pretty aggressive retreat of that Arctic air as an atmospheric river event comes in. And so this is going to be a real changeable time on Thursday for snow levels, especially across north central Idaho and west central and southwest Montana. And you can see as we get into Thursday night and then into Friday that Arctic air is pushed definitely to the north pretty wholeheartedly. This here, I just want to step through. This is just a 24-hour precipitation accumulation, and we're focused on Tuesday morning at this point. And really what we have is that Monday through early Tuesday system. Then we're going to have a system on Wednesday that passes through, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. And then what I really want you to notice is we get into Thursday, right about here, you can see we really start to pick up the precipitation totals are really picking up with that atmospheric river event. So this could be pretty significant snowfall for the passes, and then if the cold air does remain in northwest Montana, it could be quite a snow event up there even for the valley. So that's something we're going to have to watch pretty close. And then once we get to the coming weekend, it does dry out pretty quickly. So we'll talk about that in just a moment also. So here's the Wednesday snowfall probability of an inch or greater. Once again, fairly widespread light snow with that event, as you can see, but there is a focus to it. So if we jump all the way up to 4 inches, you can see the focus is generally like the I-90 corridor and southward. Now the valleys aren't showing 4 inches of snow, don't get me wrong there, but as far as Lookout Pass and then Lolo Pass and then the higher terrain of Idaho, certainly looks like a decent moderate snow event on Wednesday. And these these probabilities and snow amounts are really going to depend on what that Arctic air does along and just ahead of that boundary. Will be a pretty good setup for decent snow. So we may end up with some locally heavier totals right along that boundary and just ahead of it, depending on how far it does push into northwest Montana and western Montana on Wednesday. So just kind of taking a step back and looking at the snow totals from Monday morning all the way through Wednesday, late Wednesday afternoon, kind of putting it all together. Keep in mind this is 2 different systems that are producing this snow, but you got several inches, 1 to 4 inches in the valleys of western Montana. And you go to Lookout, you got a 1.5 feet of snow, probably a similar story for Lolo Pass. And then some pretty healthy totals even for the lower elevations, anywhere from like 2 to 5 inches for the lower elevations of north central Idaho. Now as we get into Thursday and Friday with the atmospheric river event, we're just looking at the probability of greater than 4 inches of snow. You can see the effect of some of those rising snow levels in the valleys of western Montana as far as not very high probabilities of that great of an amount. But if you look in northwest Montana, here's 71% for Kalispell for 4 inches or more of snow with that Thursday-Friday event. So that's kind of something to keep an eye on. Of course, the higher terrain looks very high chances for that much snow. And then we'll have to kind of watch north central Idaho again, because even the lower elevations are showing anywhere from 40 to 60% chance for those lower elevations. And then you get up to a spot like Pierce, and they're definitely going to pick up quite a bit of snow on those benches. So if we look at Thursday, Friday snow probability of 8 inches or more, you can see we even have some reflections up here in northwest Montana in some of these valleys of anywhere of 30-40% chance of 8 inches of snow or more. And then of course on the passes, very high chances. Now if we look at the actual forecast totals at this point and not the probabilities, you can see generally 1 to 3 inches for these valleys in west central southwest Montana, anywhere like 3 to 6 inches lower elevations of north central Idaho, and then some pretty high totals potentially for the valleys of northwest Montana, anywhere I would say 6 to 10 inches is certainly possible up there, depending on how the cold air plays out. And then looking at the passes, the western passes, we got 2 foot of snow for Lookout Pass for that 48-hour period, Thursday and Friday. Similar, it's probably slightly less, but similar totals as we get to Lolo, and then perhaps up to 1 foot of snow or so for Lost Trail. Now looking at individual snow graphs here, snow sites. Do apologize. The timelines here on the bottom seem to be broken at the moment. They're all kind of crunched together, but we're definitely looking into that and should have that fixed soon, hopefully. But anyways, you can see the reflection of that Monday system passing through, and then all the way into Tuesday. We are going to have some periods of southwest wind gusts of 30 all the way up to 45 miles per hour all the way through Monday, so we could have some blowing and drifting issues up there around Marias Pass. And you can see on the temperature graph here the influence of the Arctic. So temperatures, around 20 degrees, dropping quickly close to zero, and that's just going to depend. It most likely would be Monday night into Tuesday morning, but we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that. And then as we get later in the week, you can see that atmospheric river really having quite an impact as far as snow amounts, considerably more. Kalispell, the light snow to begin the first part of the week. You can see the reflection of the Arctic. Most likely during the day on Tuesday, dropping temperatures could have, of course, gusty winds with that, some blowing snow issues if depending on how that pushes into the valley. And then as we look toward latter in the week, Thursday and Friday, some of those higher snow totals possible. And you can see the warming in the temperature graph here too as we get into Thursday, or I'm sorry, more into Friday. But let's see. So Lookout Pass. One thing that I really take note of with Lookout Pass, starting on Monday, continuing all the way through late Friday, is there's not a lot of break here. Each period at least has a little bit of snow going on. And then especially as you look toward the latter part of the week, those totals really pop up there quite a bit. But a really consistent snow event, persistent, maybe is a better word, snow event, even though it's separate weather systems as we go through the entire week. So that's maybe a message to take away for like Lookout and Lolo Passes for pretty consistent snow. So we look at Missoula, kind of similar to Kalispell, some light events to begin the week. Perhaps a little bit higher totals Thursday into the first part of Friday. You can kind of see the reflection of the Arctic air on Wednesday as it tries to get into the Missoula area, the temperatures dropping down. And then quite a rise in temperatures Thursday into Friday to even above freezing. So we'll kind of have to watch that period for any type of freezing rain as we get into probably Friday as far as some of the lower valleys of western Montana. Lolo Pass, similar story like we talked about with Lookout Pass. Won't go over that too much. Grangemont, just quite a lot of snow, and it just is very few breaks. Grangeville, we've talked quite a bit about the wind. Now it does look like they'll pick up an inch or two of snow as we get into the latter part of Monday into Monday night. Some light snow events through the week. Lost Trail, you've kind of heard the story with the different weather systems. You can see them reflected here with some fair snow amounts. Butte looks pretty light, but it could certainly be impactful on Monday night into early Tuesday with the cold front passing through. We could have some ice issues as we warm up to near freezing if we can get those roads wet and then freeze them behind the front. And then some other event, a light event on Wednesday, and then again to the latter part of the week. Similar story for Salmon. If we're looking even further ahead, some kind of different news as far as next weekend through the early part of the following week. This is the precipitation outlook, and there's actually a trend toward below normal precipitation during that time period, which is quite a different message than we've been talking about for the last several weeks. And then temperatures look to remain below normal for this time of year. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please be in contact with us. Have a good day.